sous chef for Cindy Gomez. And right here we have our store-bought rosemary chicken, and we have our chorizo, sausage, garlic, stuffing, and Gomez-Schempp's sweet relish. And we have our cauliflower turnip mash right here. And
cauliflower turnip mash with thyme.
With thyme.
What do we have here, Sarah?
We have a chorizo, sausage, some onions, and garlic in here, I believe.
So what sort of meal are you preparing tonight?
We've got like a, I believe this is the stuffing, right, Mom?
Huh?
This is supposed to be like the stuffing or something?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, this is the stuffing for our rosemary chicken that we bought. And we've got some cauliflower turnip mash going right now over here on the left.
So I'm going to finish up doing these garlics, and when we come back, we will get the thyme going into our food processor, get our cauliflower turnip mash going, and I'll show you how to prepare that.
Roughly chop them.
You can, well, what you do is you need to chop them into ribbons. So you take it like this, and you pull back, and so that's going to pull this into ribbons. It's like if you were to take one of these and pull it apart, it's going to be like a little string.
Ah,
See?
I see.
So these are ribbons, and they'll break up in the...
In the cooking?
So I'm going to just stick this all together, and you can put that back on the flame and start stirring. So now we're going to add these ingredients, which back up the heat, and what I'm going to do is, since this is a low carb, we're going to put in our tomato and our steak, and that's going to smell really, really good. And what I'm adding here is, because we can't do raisins or some, really sweet thing in our dish, is I'm going to add some of Gomez-Schempp's relish. It's going to give us a little bit of the sweetness that I'm looking for, but not the carbs that we can't have. And it's sweet. Biscuits, which are really brown now. See? Nice and brown, and these will crumble really nicely in there. I'm going to take these off of here. Begin filming.
Alright.
Okay, so now we're going to add these ingredients, which back up the heat, and what I'm going to do is, since this is a low carb, we're going to put in our tomato and our steak, and that's going to smell really, really good. And what I'm adding here is, because we can't do raisins or some, really sweet thing in our dish, is I'm going to add some of Gomez-Schempp's relish. It's going to give us a little bit of the sweetness that I'm looking for, but not the carbs that we can't have. And it's sweet. Now you need to put that down, and then the next thing that we'll be doing is to be adding our biscuits, which are really brown now. See? Nice and brown, and these will crumble really nicely in there. I'm going to take these off of here and let them cool, and then we can break them up and put them in there. Biscuits are special. It's not like we're cheating here, because they're made with the carbulose flour, and so they are very low in carbs by the magic of some process that removes carbs from the carbulose flour, and you got that online. So we can add that, and as you do that, I'm going to take some of this red wine that we got from Jessie, our copy editor. Came over to dinner recently. And that's this back. That's perfect. That's going to bring all of it together, and our stuffing is done. Now I'm going to pull this off of the heat and just let these flavors marinate together. You don't need to add anything more. I'm going to actually reduce this to maybe a 2 and cover it so that it can just kind of mingle, have those flavors in there. And then we're going to take this and start our next step over here. And strain our cauliflower and our turnips. Now if these are wet, you're going to have a really crappy mash. And it's not going to look, it's going to look like a soup and not a mash because cauliflower has a lot of water in it. And it has very few carbs. But because it has so much water, you really have to do a good job of straining this. Otherwise, it's not going to work for you.
That looks to get a lot of water.
And something that's really good to do is take a spatula and just kind of press on them a little bit. You want to get some of that out. You don't want all that water in there. You have to do this while it's hot because otherwise it won't work later. So right now I'm washing some thyme and I'm putting some fresh thyme in here. Just pull those right off the leaf. I'm taking my roasted garlic, putting a whole head of roasted garlic in there. A couple of tablespoons of sour cream to just give it a little bit more thickness. And then I'm going to also add a little bit of heavy cream. I may add more depending on how thick or thin I want this. And just some drops, a couple of drops of this white truffle oil, which we got at the green market. It was really great stuff. Oh, I forgot. Here. You smell that?
Yep.
You smell the truffle oil?
Yes.
And you can smell the garlic. It's very sweet.
Right.
So that's going to be really nice. So what you want to test here is to make sure that this is really smooth but looks like mashed potatoes. And what we need to do now is add our spicing, which is basically salt and pepper. This is going to take a lot of salt. Turnips, potatoes, cauliflower, all of those things take lots and lots of salt. So I'm going to add that now. And I'm going to put in our chicken broth. So here's our stuffing. And this is just a nice way to dress up a store-bought chicken. So we'll take the stuffing, put it over here. Oh my God, that smells good. Oh, and the consistency is really good on this. But again, you have to do this when it's hot. If you let the vegetables get cold, it will not turn out like this. It just turns into soup. So you have to do it while it's hot so they can get nice and creamed. And it's the perfect consistency. It's like almost like a runny mashed potato, but it's perfect. And it's a great substitute with hardly any carbs at all. So this is a really easy way to just get a store-bought chicken, and instead of feeling like you're eating it in a box, you make some sides with it with your own herbs from home and your own ingredients, and for not very much money, you could end up having a really nice home-cooked meal. So let's eat.
Bon appetit!